So, do you ever have one of those days where you've been filming for 10 minutes thinking you're getting something accomplished, and no, you're not? But I'll show you what I did. I just took my rubber mat and some ink in a permanent ink, wherever I put that. This is a True Fusion from Fun Stamper's Journey. You could use archival, anything that's going to be permanent, like stays on. And I'm stamping onto tissue paper, okay? So that's what I started with. Once I had stamped my images, thusly, onto tissue paper, I had used the Deco Art Media napkin glue sealer finish to put them down onto my page. So I have this image here, I have this image here, and I have a tree, wherever it went to, image here. This one is from Stamp Oasis. I've had these for probably 20-30 years, so I don't know if they're still in business. This one is from Sutter Enterprises. Don't know about that. This one is from 1996 from Southpaw Productions. But you know, there's a lot of images out there, so you can find images to use. This is just how I go about using them in my work. So I've got that down. Then I went to my printer. Now I have a what do they call it? Laser printer, not an inkjet. And so what I did was I took some of that tissue paper and I tape it onto, let me back this out a little bit. I tape it onto a piece of printing paper, okay? So this is just that blue painter tape, removable, you know. And I tape it down onto a piece of printer paper so it acts as a carrier sheet to pull it through my laser printer. Now I found this laser printer online. You can get a laser printer, I think I got mine for less than $300, and you can spend as much as that on a inkjet printer, but you don't have the permanency. You know, if you want to do image transfers, you want a laser printer. If you are doing mixed media work like I do, you want a laser printer. And the cartridges are going to last you so much longer than anything that you're going to get with an inkjet printer, because it's a toner cartridge. It's not that liquid stuff and little bitty thing. It's a big toner cartridge, and it has a lot of toner in it. Okay, so North is the prompt for today. So I took a quote. You know, I get hooked on things just like anybody else. I took a quote out of one of my favorite shows that I was watching. It's a series, and it is from Game of Thrones. And it says, "A cold wind blows from the north, and it made the trees rustle like living things." So I'm not quite sure. I've got both the quote and the author here, so I think I'm going to separate them so that it's not such a big piece. So let me just pull those apart, and then I can put the quote down, and then I can find a place for the rest of that. And I can break this up more. I can take my scissors and I can come in here and just cut this like so, and get my brush once again. Let me bring this back down for you. And what do I do with my brush? I tell you, I lose more things on this desk. It's here. I know it's here. Oh, I must have put it back in the water. No, that's not the same brush. Oh well. I have a brush that will work. So I'm just going to get my deco page and put this quote onto my page. Whoops, guess I didn't do that right. Pay attention to what you're doing, Peg. All right, this is where you run into a problem. You see this part of my quote? Yeah, that's in the wrong spot.
So I'm going to speed this up. Yeah, this is a big flub up, and I'm not going to redo the page because these are 15-minute pages, and I've already spent that on this. So I'm just going to do my best to cobble something together and go ahead and finish the page. So you'll see me putting these things down. I have George R.R. Martin from the Game of Thrones. It is a Song of Fire and Ice, and that's the author of this. A cold wind is blowing from the north, and it made the trees rustle like living things. And so I have my images glued down, and I will be back.
Okay, so I have a number of things out here to color with, and you know, some of these things I don't think are going to work real well because they're kind of transparent, and I'm going to try several different things here. If you have a background like this in tissue paper, you're going to see the background through. So if that's bothering you, you want to get something more opaque. Now, these are some Delusions paint pens, and I have not had a lot of luck with them, but they're still in my stash. So I'm thinking, okay, I could come in and color the cardinal in using that Delusions red paint, and then it's going to cover up those areas in the background. And I don't even have to do every bit of this, you know, because maybe I want some shading or something on the cardinal, in which case I can leave some of that open. And then I also have it in a, oh boy, lids don't go on real well either. I also have it in a yellow. Let's see if this one works. Yeah, it's still working. I had a big problem with these clogging. Maybe other people have better luck with it and can tell me what they're doing to make it work better for them, because it's not been a real favorite of mine. Okay, I don't like the yellow on the feet, so I'm going to grab some orange from Faber-Castell, hoping that that's kind of dry. Let me dry that real quick. And I'm going to hit those little feet there with the orange. He looks so cold. I'm going to take some, I have some flesh tone Neo color here, and I think I'm going to color in his face with that flesh tone. And then I also have some, this is some matte medium out here on my glass palette. This is just a palette from, it's a glass plate from the dollar store. So I'm going to grab some of that with my brush, and I'm going to work that out a little bit to get him covered in. He's got his hand tucked in under his arm. Make sure that I get his face colored in. Get that out of my brush because I don't want that to stay in there. The trees. Okay, the trees. Let's see, what do I have for that? I have, because I'm not so worried about the opacity on the tree right now. Let's try, I've got a couple of these Faber-Castell different browns. So I'm going to color the bark with my marker. And the branch. And that's snow coming out here. Maybe a little brown underneath, like so. And then I've got a little bit darker brown. Let's see what this does. Yeah, that's a good shader for this one. So I'm just going to come along the edge here and blend in some of that darker brownish color. And I think I also want some green for the pine needles, which are, well, wait a minute, I need to do, there's some little pine cones down here that I think need some brown on, since they're hanging off the tree branch, and some green for the pine needles. Some of that could just be icicle drips too, I guess. Okay, so we've got our tree. Now let's concentrate on our little guy here from the north. I've got these metallics that I haven't used. These are pit metallic in different colors, and I want to use this blue color for his parka. I'm thinking icy blue for the parka. That's a pretty blue. It's got a little bit of shimmer, not a great deal, so it's really kind of nice. Because you know how some of those parkas have a little bit of iridescence to them? I'm thinking that's what this is looking like to me. And then he's got his mucklucks and his, let's see, we've got a little design going on in the border on this, so let's get the design on here too. Just kind of a chevron design. Okay, and let me take a look at that image. What did I do with those stamps? Here we go. Okay, so that image had, like, he was frozen. He has his brow. It's still a little bit wet. Let me dry that. And honestly, I think I need to put a little bit of a furry color in here. What do I want to use? How about this? How about a lighter blue on the fur section here? So I'll get that, get the bottom of the parka with that, and then I will hit that again with that matte medium to seal it in. think I'll put that on his middies too, since I have some of that in my brush as I'm working it. So I'll put some of that blue on his mittens down here. But that matte medium should seal the Neocolor into my image. Okay, now I can dry that. And come back with a pen, and we'll do a little bit of, let's see, he's got some lines coming off of his nose here where he's squished up cold. And I've got a little fuzz on the end of my little fuzz on the end of my brush here. It's a brush tip pen. So yeah, he's looking kind of chilled there. And I think I just want to do something in a blue, but not solid on the boot cuff here. So let's do another one of these Faber-Castell. These are India ink, so they're permanent. This is a Pigma FB, it's from Japan, brush tip pen. So I have that much done. Alright, I want to ground him a little bit. So let me just take this, and then what I have is a bunch of different things, products that I haven't used very much. Like I've got white out here. Wondering how white out would work. Oh, maybe I've had this too long. The whiteout is dead. Okay, might have to pop the top off of that and see if I can get it out. I also had some white opaque Copic. I wonder what I did with that. Okay, not sure where that is right now. So let's go with what I have out here. I have some enamel accents in white. I'm pretty sure that should work, and that should be opaque, right? Yeah, it looks like. So let me shake that up. I just want to get a little bit on my brush to start with and paint in some of this snow on my tree branch. And I'll come back and do some dimensional work here in just a little bit, but I want to get the first layer down here. And that had a little bit too much fluidity. So let me see if I can shake that up anymore. Good grief. This is not my day. Oh well. We've had better and we've had worse, right? So we just persevere. That's how it is, especially if we're just working in a journal. Just take our time, enjoy the ride, and do what we can. Alright, so yeah, that's working somewhat. Somewhat. Looks like there should be a little bit of snow caught on that lump there. We need a little bit of it drifting down below. So I will put some of that in down here. Around my little frozen guy, little frozen dude. Okay, so now I'm going to squeeze out some water out of my brush to clean it out, because you want to make sure that you get all of that out of your brush so it doesn't get sucked back up in and ruin your brush. Okay, so now that I have that, I think he's going to have a gray beard, so let me get a gray pit pen. And I will shade in his beard. I'm also going to do a little bit of shading around him, just to bring him out a ways from the background. And that's a pit pen. And you know, remember I sealed this page, so the pit pen is gliding over it real easily. I'm going to also go down the edge of my tree over here. And while it's still wet, you can just take your finger, or you can even wet your finger, and you can move that and do your shading. Do a little shading underneath here, which I should have done before I put the white on, but oh well. Like I said, I'm moving on, getting that done down in there. And let's see, what else do I need to do? I've got him, I've got that. I think I want to add, let's see, that was the enamel. I have so much stuff that I have not taken the time to use. I have Novu crystal drops, I have texture gems. Let's see what these look like. I've had these for a long time. Not sure just how fluid this is. Oh, they're, okay. It's kind of silvery, and I think it's a little too silvery for what I want here. I could put just a little bit. Yeah, maybe not. All right, forget that one. I also have this Novu crystal drops, and I also have the Craft Twinkle Rider. Now this one has a lot more glitter in it than this one, or at least this looks like a finer glitter. Let's look at this is the Novu. Oh, and it makes little dots. It's thick. So if you want the little snowflake dots, this is a good one to do that with. Another one to use for this type of thing is the, what do they call that stuff? Liquid fabric, or no? I'll have to see if I can find it and show you guys what I'm talking about. It puffs up when you heat it, so it's kind of fun. But okay, I got enough of that glittery stuff from Novu on there. I'm going to use the I can't even talk. Craft Twinkles on this up here. I think, if I can get it out. Okay, I need a needle. It's always like this with these pointy things, right? Get down in there, if I can get down in there, and open up that. See if I can get it flowing. Oh boy. Maybe not. Oh, because it's a brand new one. All right, don't use that one. Use the one that's already open, silly. That might be good. Let's see. This should go into my overflow drawer. I'll put that away in my overflow. And then, yeah, this one sounds liquid. Oh yeah, this one's flowing. So I'm just going to put some of this glittery, snowy looking stuff on my page. If I can keep it flowing. I think the glitter's clogging it up. Keep it flowing here. Yeah, sometimes the chunky stuff wants to get in there in the nozzle, and ooh boy, and then it really comes out. But it's cute, right? It's cute. We got glitter. We got snow. And we're chunked up again. And we'll get a little bit of that going on down here. Snowy action. Yeah, I'm liking that. So that 15-minute north took me a lot more than 15 minutes, but I like the page. So I hope you enjoyed working along with me today. And if you like this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, tell your friends, post it on Pinterest, whatever you want to do, because, you know, that's how we find out about each other and how we share our art. So, okay, just a little intermission. I want to interject something here. I've been told over the years that you could use a correction pen for your white pen. Let me say, this is just way too liquid. I shake them up and shake them up and shake them up, and when it comes out, it really is still way too liquid. Let me see if I can get this thing. You can see on this piece of paper just how liquid that is. It's not an opaque white. You'd have to do multiple layers to get that to do anything for you. So, you know, that's just not going to work for coverage. I mean, maybe you want something that's just partially covered. Yeah, in that case, maybe that would work for you. Now, the other thing that I talked about, and this is a good white pen, you know, if you're looking for a good white pen, the Signal is a good white pen. But the other thing I talked about was the liquid applique. And liquid applique comes in a little tube like this, and if you heat it, it puffs up. It looks like these little snowdrops over here. But if you let it set, it is not going to puff quite as much. So it depends on how much liquid is still in this. But if I wanted to create a snow bank, you know, I can come in with that liquid applique and just create my snow banks here. And this will dry down. You know, I could put a little bit up here on the top of my snow mound where I have my glitter. And I'll heat that briefly to show you what that does. I'm not going to use a real hot heat tool. I'm just going to use my Ranger heat craft tool because this stuff will puff. Just saying, this stuff does puff up. So as you heat it and you start watching it, you're going to see it starting to puff. You can see some of those little snowflakes that I put some on. And if you're putting this into an envelope, just know that it's going to flatten some also. Or, you know, once you shut the cover of your book, it's going to flatten. Because, you know, now that that moisture is escaping out of there, it's kind of like puffed up and there's air pocket in there. But it does give a nice snowy effect. So, I mean, if I wanted to, let's see if this is, yeah, you can see that that's kind of cooled down a little bit, but I can press that down. You know, I can press that down and make it flatter, or I could fill it in more. You know, if I wanted more snow, I can come in and fill in now with more snow in here under his feet, you know. So you can just keep going with that and create your little snow scene. But that's liquid applique. It's meant for embroidery or 3D effects on fabric and paper. All right, and that's from Marvy. That's it from me today, guys, in the cold north. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.